Dreams begin in darkness, before the world forms, before sound has meaning, before you remember who you are. There is a moment every night when the mind slips beneath awareness, like a diver sinking into deep water, and something else takes control. An architect with no name, no language, no boundaries. A silent intelligence that builds worlds the moment you fall asleep. You don't notice the transition because the brain erases the doorway. 1 second you are lying in a room wrapped in sheets and gravity. The next you are somewhere impossible, a city made of memory, a hallway you've never walked, a sky that blinks like an eye. It feels real because your brain doesn't simulate impressions. It simulates entire realities. In the dream world, the mind stops checking for what is logical and starts asking only one question: what experience must be created now? And in that question, entire universes are born. Every night, your brain performs an act that would bankrupt the world's most advanced supercomputers. It generates a full sensory simulation: vision, touch, sound, emotion, identity, narrative, all stitched together with such precision that you rarely question the illusion while inside it. A dream is not a hallucination, it is a fully immersive reality projected internally. The strange part is not that dreams feel real. What's strange is how quickly they become normal once you're inside. You accept things that defy physics, you breathe underwater, you talk to people who were never born. You stand in places that do not exist. You teleport, you float, you die, you wake up, and then you continue the story as if the impossible is simply the new rule of this universe. The brain doesn't ask for your consent to rewrite reality, it just does it. Inside a dream, you are both the actor and the audience, but you're also something far stranger. You are the world itself. Because everything, the walls, the sky, the strangers you meet, are built from your neural patterns. Every character is a fragment of your memory, every landscape a remix of things you've seen or imagined. But the question that haunts scientists, psychologists, and philosophers is this: if everything is made of you, then who is the you walking inside the dream? You never truly play yourself. You play a version of yourself, a simplified avatar, a silhouette wrapped in borrowed thoughts, reacting to impossible events. The real observer, the silent witness, never appears in the dream. It only watches, it studies, it takes notes. Most people think dreams are chaos, random stories, unfiltered nonsense. But if dreams were random, they wouldn't follow themes, they wouldn't have structure, they wouldn't maintain symbols that return across years, and they certainly wouldn't reveal fears you've never spoken aloud. In waking life, everything is filtered by logic, culture, language, habits, expectations, but dreams have no filters. They have only intention. They show you a version of reality that is not logical, but meaningful, not accurate, but symbolic. And that symbolism is not decoration. It is the native language of your subconscious. The dream world is not chaotic. It is purposeful. It is structured. It is intelligent. Science can describe the mechanics of dreams, the electrical storms of REM sleep, the activation of the visual cortex, the relaxation of the prefrontal lobe, the memory replay across the hippocampus. But none of that explains why dreams feel alive, why they feel authored, why the dream world has its own intelligence that isn't quite yours. Consider the way dreams stitch together moments. A childhood home fused with your current city, a stranger wearing the face of someone you miss, a staircase that leads to an ocean. It is not randomness, it is a message delivered in the only format the subconscious can use: images and emotions. Dreams don't speak in words because the part of the brain that uses language goes offline during sleep. Instead, your subconscious speaks in symbols because symbols are the original human language. Before writing, before speech, humans survived through pattern recognition, through metaphor, through images. Dreams are that ancient system waking up. And then there's the strangest part: dreams don't follow time. You can experience an entire story, days, even weeks, in the 5 minutes before your alarm rings. The brain creates non-linear timelines where cause and effect detach. You see events before they happen. You understand things you never learned. Time stretches and compresses because dreams are not experiences. They are simulations of experience. Your brain is not telling a story, it is testing possibilities. It is running models of realities that might happen, could happen, should happen, or must never happen. Dreams are evolution's way of preparing you for futures you haven't lived yet. But the dream world does more than test survival. It tests identity. Every night, the brain temporarily deletes your sense of self. You forget your name, your age, your past, your responsibilities. Yet you still navigate the dream world. You still make decisions. You still react with fear, love, curiosity, confusion. That means consciousness is not tied to memory or identity. You exist without the story of who you are. And yet, something inside still observes. That observer, the silent presence, is one of the greatest mysteries of dreaming. It watches your avatar move through dream worlds but never interferes. It accumulates data, integrates lessons, and hands them back to you when you wake up, hidden in intuition, gut feelings, new ideas, or sudden clarity. The real you may be more awake during dreams than during waking life. Dreams reveal a truth that waking life hides. Your mind is not one thing, it is many. A chorus of selves. The conscious mind is only the narrator, the voice that takes credit. But the dream world is built by the deeper layers, the emotional mind, the primal mind, the symbolic mind, the creative mind, and the subconscious observer that binds them all. These layers communicate with each other only when you sleep. When you wake, the door closes and the dream dissolves. But something stays behind, a feeling, a warning, an idea, a question you didn't know you needed to ask. Think of the dream world as a parallel dimension generated internally, not a physical universe, but a cognitive one. A place where the rules are not based on physics, but on psychology. Your fears shape landscapes, your desires shape characters, your memories build architecture, your emotions control gravity itself. The dream world is elastic because your internal world is elastic. It stretches around whatever the subconscious needs to express. And this raises another profound question. If the dream world is built entirely from your mind, why does it surprise you? Why do things happen in dreams that you couldn't predict, couldn't expect, couldn't invent consciously? If the dream is you, then who is the one creating the unexpected? This is the paradox that reveals its true nature. The subconscious is not a passive storage system. It is an active intelligence, older, deeper, and more powerful than the conscious mind you identify with during the day. The subconscious architect is not limited by logic or language. It creates with fluidity, blending imagination with memory, mixing realism with impossibility, producing stories that feel authored by someone who knows you better than you know yourself. To walk through a dream is to walk through the architecture of your own mind. But it is also to confront the parts of yourself that hide in daylight, the emotions that have no place in your daily life, the truths you ignore, the fears you suppress, the desires you deny. Dreams surface everything you avoid. They magnify it, they distort it, they wrap it in symbolism because symbolism is the only way the subconscious can bypass your defenses. So when you see a storm, a broken house, an endless hallway, a faceless stranger, or a collapsing city inside a dream, these are not random images. They are metaphors built with precision. Your subconscious is speaking even if your conscious mind cannot understand the language. But dreams are not only mirrors, they are laboratories. They allow your brain to test emotions without consequences. You can feel anger without hurting anyone. You can face danger without dying. You can explore desires without acting on them. Dreams give you a safe environment to rehearse conflict, fear, courage, growth, and transformation. This is why you relive embarrassing moments, replay unresolved arguments, revisit old memories, and imagine future scenarios. Your brain uses the dream world to rewrite emotional patterns and rewire neural circuits. It is psychological engineering disguised as storytelling. Every night you become a traveller inside a universe made entirely of thought. And yet, despite its infinite size, the dream world is compact. It fits inside your skull. You carry countless worlds within you, and you visit them without ever leaving your bed. Dreams show you that consciousness is not limited to waking life. It exists on multiple layers. Waking consciousness interacts with physical reality. Dream consciousness interacts with constructed reality. Both feel real because both are experiences interpreted by your brain. The only difference is whether the input comes from outside or inside. But here is the most unsettling truth. The dream world doesn't end when you wake up. Most dreams are forgotten, but their influence remains. They shift your mood, alter your decisions, rewrite your beliefs. They affect how you see people, how you see yourself, how you interpret events. The dream world is not a separate universe. It is a hidden extension of this one. A backstage where the mind rearranges the set before the next act of your life begins. Dreams remind us that reality is not as fixed as it seems. If your brain can create entire worlds while you sleep, convincing, emotional, vivid worlds, then waking reality is only one layer of perception. The mind has the power to simulate universes. The mind contains landscapes larger than the physical world, and each dream is a journey into that inner cosmos. Dreams are not illusions, they are revelations. They are the proof that you are not a single self living in a single reality. You are a universe within a universe, carrying infinite worlds inside your mind, waiting to be explored each night. Science tries its best to explain dreams in the clean, clinical language of biology. Neurons firing, synapses strengthening, memories consolidating. But the moment you step into a dream, you know something far stranger is happening. This isn't just the mind reorganizing information, it's creation, it's theatre, it's simulation. And yet beneath all of that mystery lies a remarkably complex machine. Your brain running the most advanced nightly software update known in the universe. Dreams do not appear out of nowhere. They emerge from precise, orchestrated chaos that unfolds inside your skull as the world outside goes silent. The process begins the moment you fall asleep. Your body shuts down its responsiveness to the environment. Your muscles deactivate, your senses dim. But the brain does not rest. It shifts into a different state of consciousness, one where logic loosens, memories untangle themselves, and emotions rise to the surface like forgotten ghosts looking for release. In the first phase of sleep, the brain falls through layers: light sleep, deeper sleep, then eventually descending into slow-wave sleep where the mind becomes quiet, almost ancient, as if retreating into the primitive layers built hundreds of millions of years ago. Here, neurons fire in synchronized bursts, creating deep, thunderous waves of activity that roll across the cortex like tides. This stage is not dreaming, it's cleansing. Your brain removing metabolic waste, repairing cells, and doing the physical housekeeping needed to keep you alive. But then, after roughly 90 minutes, something extraordinary happens. The quiet mind flips a switch. The brainstem ignites like an engine coming to life. The cortex activates. The visual system turns back on, and the body becomes paralyzed. You enter REM sleep, the stage where the most vivid dreams occur. Science calls it rapid eye movement, but the name doesn't capture the magnitude of what's happening. During REM, your brain becomes almost as active as it is when you're awake, sometimes even more. It is a paradox. You appear unconscious, motionless, yet inside your skull, your mind is running simulations with the intensity of a supercomputer. Why? That question haunts every neuroscientist who studies dreams, because REM sleep consumes enormous amounts of energy. If dreams were meaningless, evolution would have deleted them long ago. But it didn't. It preserved them across every mammal, every age, every culture, every human life. Something vital is happening here. During REM, the brain disconnects from the outside world, but it activates the internal world with terrifying precision. The visual cortex lights up as though you're seeing real scenes. The emotional centers, especially the amygdala, surge with activity, amplifying fear, desire, longing, regret. The prefrontal cortex, the area responsible for logic and self-control, goes dark. This is why dreams can feel chaotic, illogical, and free. You've lost the part of yourself that rationalizes and shapes behavior. In that vacuum, your subconscious emerges. But the most mysterious part is the hippocampus, the brain's memory center. During REM, it begins replaying fragments of your day, bits of old memories, pieces of conversations, childhood moments, and emotions that never fully healed. It does not replay them like files on a computer. It takes them apart, reassembles them, distorts them, and blends them with other memories, creating symbolic hybrids. A staircase from your school becomes a hallway in your home. A face from years ago appears on a stranger's body. A fear you buried resurfaces, disguised as a monster. These distortions aren't mistakes. They're the language of the subconscious. The brain does not speak in sentences. It speaks in imagery, metaphor, pattern, and emotion. Dreams are the only time you can hear this hidden language clearly. From a scientific standpoint, the main purpose of dreams is memory consolidation. But even this simple phrase doesn't capture the full grandeur of what's happening. Your brain is deciding what memories matter, which ones to strengthen, which ones to weaken, which ones to emotionally process, which ones to bury. It is editing your life story without your permission, rewriting experiences, reframing events, and deciding which lessons you will carry into the future. Suppose you experience something emotionally intense during the day, a humiliating moment, a frightening thought, an unresolved argument. You might think you've moved on, but your brain hasn't. At night, it takes that memory, removes its emotional sting, and files it away. Nightmares usually appear when your brain fails to complete the process, when the emotional charge is too big to neutralize in one session. That's why recurring nightmares often repeat the same theme. Your brain is trying again and again to resolve something you refuse to face while awake. Science calls this emotional processing, but inside the dream it feels like something else, like your inner world is speaking to you, pushing you, warning you. Another layer of dream science lies in neural pruning, the brain's way of removing unused connections. While you sleep, trillions of synapses compete for survival. The ones you used during the day are strengthened, the ones you ignored are erased. Dreams often reflect this process as random, chaotic scenes, but nothing is random. It's the mind's way of testing which connections matter. Then comes predictive simulation, one of the most fascinating theories. Your brain constantly predicts the future, from movement to conversation to danger. During dreams, these predictions run wild. That's why recurring nightmares often repeat the same theme. Your brain is trying again and again to resolve something you refuse to face while awake. Science calls this emotional processing. But inside the dream, it feels like something else, like your inner world is speaking to you, pushing you, warning you. Another layer of dream science lies in neural pruning, the brain's way of removing unused connections. While you sleep, trillions of synapses compete for survival. The ones you used during the day are strengthened, the ones you ignored are erased. Dreams often reflect this process as random, chaotic scenes. But nothing is random. It's the mind's way of testing which connections matter. Then comes predictive simulation, one of the most fascinating theories. Your brain constantly predicts the future, from movement to conversation to danger. During dreams, these predictions run wild. The brain simulates countless scenarios, threats, opportunities, social interactions, emotional challenges. It prepares you for futures that haven't happened yet. This is why dreams can sometimes feel prophetic, not because they predict supernatural events, but because your brain is running simulations of likely possibilities. If one happens in real life, it feels like déjà vu, not magic. Just advanced biological forecasting. But science has gaps, and those gaps expose how strange dreams truly are. For example, the brain should not be able to generate new faces in dreams, yet it does. It should not be able to create places you've never seen, yet it does. It should not be able to simulate physics that don't exist, yet it does. Where does this extra information come from? Neuroscientists argue that it's recombination, the brain mixing fragments of old memories into new patterns. But even that explanation feels incomplete. How can the mind create coherent worlds on the spot? How does it generate emotion-rich narratives with characters, plot twists, symbolism, and meaning? It is as if the mind has two storytellers, the conscious one you use in waking life, and the subconscious one that takes control at night. Infinitely more creative, fearless, and unpredictable. In dreams, the subconscious doesn't just speak, it sings. Another mystery, why is the dream self so different from the waking self? During REM, the prefrontal cortex, the seat of ego and self-awareness, shuts down. Without it, you lose your sense of identity. You become fluid. You become a character rather than a person. You accept impossible situations, flying, teleportation, talking to people who are dead, without resistance. This is because the brain's reality-checking system is offline. In a way, dreams show you what life would feel like if you didn't have an ego, if you existed as pure perception and emotion with no filter.